But where we are going next is not everybody got a chance to talk there. I know it's early in the year. We're still a little shy, some of us. So right now, I'm going to give you an opportunity to write down your ideas. You're expressing ideas of what do you think is really happening when ethanol burns. So that's getting at that kind of that mechanism that TJ was talking about. What's really going on when something is burning? Oh, thank you. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes on your own to answer the questions on this pink sheet. So pink, we're at the beginning of the unit. These are your ideas to begin with. I know you don't know all the answers yet. This is just what you think. So all answers are welcome. I would really appreciate it if it was sort of silent time, 5 minutes, looking at that flame, what's going into the flame, what's coming out of the flame, what's going on there. If you can explain what's happening when something burns. People have been struggling with their explanations because they're just not sure. Then they've been focusing more on the questions that they have. What do they want to know so they can better answer that question? I just floated around. I looked over a lot of shoulders. There are some cool ideas of what you think is going on. You guys know a lot already about what's happening when something burns. You know some of the things that go in. You know some of the things that come out. We've got a lot of really cool ideas already here. So here's what we're going to do. I would like you to compare your ideas with a neighbor. So you're going to partner up with one other person at your table. The only exception to this should be our one table group of 3. Otherwise, I want 2 conversations going on at each table. So you're going to partner up with one other person at your table, and you're going to take turns reading what you each wrote. And if you hear something somebody says, your partner says that you like, you can add that onto your diagram if you want. Okay? Then I want you to each take turns reading, sharing what you're thinking is going on when ethanol burns, and then compare your ideas. What's similar about them? What's different? And then I put Post-its on your table. Write down 2 to 4 of the most important ideas you came up with on those Post-it notes, on those sticky notes. These can be ideas or questions. So what you think is going in, what's coming out, or what questions do you have about that? What do you think is going on when ethanol burns? When you're done putting together those ideas on your Post-its, go ahead and put them on this whiteboard right up here, the small one. On the left is anything for your ideas, and on the right is your questions. So to recap, partner up with one person at your table. It's not a whole table discussion. It's just a partner discussion. Share your ideas. Put your key ideas down on your Post-its. Add them to the front. Let's take about 5 minutes for this. Do I have all the Post-its? Yeah? Awesome. Okay, so just at a glance, looking over these, and I'll spend a bit more time with them later on and categorize your ideas and categorize your questions, and I'll come up with a nice list of what you came up with here. What I'm seeing here on your ideas of what happens when ethanol burns, I'm seeing a lot of people make reference to oxygen going in. So it sounds like a lot of you are coming in knowing that oxygen is going to be a key player in this. I also saw in a lot of Post-its there something about CO2 or carbon dioxide coming out. So it looks like a bunch of you kind of know there's something about carbon dioxide going on here. I see some ideas about heat and light coming out of that flame as well, coming out of the burning ethanol. So we'll talk more about that as time goes on. Questions. Perhaps the most common question in here is, what else is in ethanol? Okay, so there's some ideas in there about carbon being in ethanol, but what else is in there? So you guys really, it looks like you want to zoom in on that ethanol and really get a better understanding of what's inside that ethanol. Then there's a lot of questions where you just flip the question back onto me. So I'm asking you, what happens when ethanol burns? And then the questions I see on there, you tell us, Ms. Newell, what happens when ethanol burns? So, and that's where we're going. Like, I'm asking you, you're asking me, we're going to work together on this to come up with our answer to this question about what happens when ethanol burns. But just like your Post-its are identifying here, you guys are ready to take it from this macroscopic scale and zoom in and really see what's going on in that ethanol. Get a better understanding. It's not just this clear, colorless liquid. There's something else in there. What is it? And unfortunately, our microscopes aren't powerful enough to get us to that level. We have to go even deeper, zoom in even more. So what we're going to do is be going back and forth between these scales of macroscopic and atomic molecular. That's even beyond microscopic. We're going in even deeper, the atomic molecular scale, in order to answer our question. So a lot of you hit the nail on the head. You got to know what's in there to understand what's happening when ethanol burns. So here's this roadmap again, just to show you where we're going. So you can see we're making some progress here. We started off right there. We did our pre-test. We've established the problem that we don't really understand what's happening when ethanol burns or why ethanol burns. So now we're going to move forward a little bit. And we're going to this orange bubble, which is your foundational knowledge, some background information that you need to really have a deeper understanding of what's happening when ethanol burns.